Good morning. We will start session 5 on chapter Force and Laws of Motion. This is the last session on this chapter Force and Laws of Motion. So till now in our class we have studied about what is force, balanced and unbalanced force, and we studied two different laws of motion. Newton's first law of motion, that is law of inertia. Newton's second law of motion based on momentum. And we also studied how to derive Newton's second law of motion mathematically. With that, we understood the definition of what is 1 Newton. Some applications based on Newton's second law of motion also. In today's class, we will study the last law of motion, that is third law of motion, where everyone knows the third law very well. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law tells us that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now what do you mean by this? Any action what is given to the object, equal and opposite reaction is given by another object. Now that means when we talk about action and reaction, these both action and reaction will happen simultaneously but on different body. They will not happen on the same body. Action and reaction act on two different bodies at same time. Now first we'll understand the examples, then we'll understand the meaning of this. I have given the first example as swimming. So what do you do in swimming? What we do is, in swimming we push the water backwards, right? So with our arms we push the water backwards. So that is action. So when we push the water backwards, what is the reaction? The reaction is our body is going forward, correct? So that is the reaction. Now here, on what the action is acting upon? We are acting upon water. So water is undergoing some action. That means we are acting on the water. On water the action is being taken place. Where is the reaction shown? Is reaction also shown in the water? No, right? Reaction is shown on the body. That means action and reaction will take place at the same time but on two different bodies. Now similar example is when we row the boat, we are rowing the boat, right? That means we are pushing the water backward. What is the reaction? The boat is moving forward. Now the next example I have given here is flying of a jet. So what happens in a flying of a jet? So it's nothing but propelling of a jet also, what you can say. Lot of exhaust gases are expelled out through the outlet of the jet. So these are exhaust gases. The resulting, the jet moves upward. So action is what? Lot of exhaust gases are propelled out and the reaction is on the jet moves in the opposite direction. The same thing is acted when we take an inflated balloon. Inflated balloon is the air-filled balloon. So when an inflated balloon is deflated means removing the air from the balloon. So you can actually try these all tricks at your home. Newton's third law of motion. So when an inflated balloon is deflated, the balloon goes in the opposite direction of the air going in the other direction. That means now air is going in this direction, balloon is going in this direction. You can observe this. So when an inflated balloon is deflated, the balloon moves in the opposite direction of the air moving out. Bullet fired from the gun. Now what happens when a bullet is fired from the gun? The gun recoils. Recoils in the sense is the gun just rolls back. Now usually you might have seen in movies and all, when an army person or on the border, when they have heavy guns, they actually take the load of the heavy gun on the shoulder, right? That means they keep on their shoulder and they shoot. Why do they do like that? Because the recoil is so heavy that they can't take back. So the recoil is taken by the shoulder. There is a small jerk, you can say, right? So when you shoot, the bullet is fired, immediately there is a jerk. That is nothing but the gun recoils. So bullet fired from the gun recoils. Now the bullet is fired, action, recoiling is the reaction. That means it is happening on the same gun. Action and action is what? When we fire it, the bullet moves forward. Reaction is the gun is moving back. Action is the bullet going, and the reaction is on the gun. Birds flying. Now what do birds do when they are flying? When they flap their wings, actually, they push the air downwards, right? Pushing the air downwards is the action. So in return, what they will do? Atmosphere. So air in the atmosphere will again push the air upwards, right? So action is they are putting it down, they are flapping their wings down, and the reaction is the air again in turn pushes the air so that the flap will again turn. That is how birds are able to fly. Walking. So walking is an example for third law? Yes. Walking is an example for third law. That's only because when we walk, we push the ground. So with what force we push the ground? Pushing the ground is an action, right? Reaction is the ground also exerts equal force. That is how we are able to move forward, correct? So walking is an example of Newton's third law of motion. Some wrong notions of Newton's third law of motion could be when we strike a ball, the ball bounces back, right? So is it an example of third law? No. Actually, this was proved wrong that these are not the examples of third law. Why these are not the examples of third law is, now the action is what? We are throwing a ball, right? Reaction is the ball bouncing back. Now if that was the case, then any object which is thrown has to bounce back, correct? So that doesn't happen. Now I will take a cubical, I'll take a small cube and I'll just throw it. Will it bounce back? No. That's only because of the surface of the ball which is in curved shape, which makes the ball to bounce back. So when you throw the ball bounce back is a wrong example for Newton's third law of motion. So these are the few examples of Newton's third law of motion. So the last part of our lesson is law of conservation of momentum. Now we know what is momentum here. Yes, it is nothing but the measurement of motion of an object, power of the motion of an object. That means it is a product of mass and velocity. Now here we have to understand that momentum of an object remains the same at a particular time. What is it? When two or more bodies act upon one another, their total momentum remains constant. That is, initial momentum is equal to final momentum. What do you mean by this statement? Now the statement, we have a derivation for this. This is the second derivation and very important derivation. The question can be asked is, define law of conservation of momentum and mathematically derive the expression, right? So assume that we have a body or a vehicle A and a vehicle B. Vehicle A has mass m and vehicle B also has mass, vehicle A has mass m1, vehicle B has mass m2. Now these are moving with some velocity u1 and u2. Now these two objects or vehicles, they are coming with such a velocity that they come and strike each other. Now according to you, assume that you are playing a toy car at your home. So from there one and here two cars are coming at some velocity, right? Now what will happen when they collide? They'll stop, they'll change the direction. What can happen? When they collide, you are not supposed to take the car and collide it. It's a pullback car. You just leave it so that they come with certain velocity. The minute they collide, what will happen is they go back. Correct? So what will happen now? When this will collide, they will go back. Right? Till where they will go back? Again, assuming that there is no external force acting on them. Right? Any other external force. So with what velocity it is coming, it goes back with the same velocity. So here we can again assume Newton's third law of motion. Correct? Yes. We will be applying Newton's third law of motion to tell that when a body is coming with a certain momentum and it strikes a certain object simultaneously, both the objects where they are coming and they are striking, momentum 1 and momentum 2, when they go back, they collide each other and they go back, their momentum remains constant, that is same. That means we understand from here that is total momentum of an object before collision is equal to the total momentum of an object after collision, because after colliding they again move back, they repel back, what you can say. So that is what we are going to prove in law of conservation of the momentum. When two or more bodies act upon one another, their total momentum remains constant. That is, initial momentum is equal to final momentum. Now let's see how to derive this equation mathematically. So let us derive this. Suppose two objects A and B, each of mass m1 and m2, are moving with initial velocities u1 and u2, strike each other after time t seconds and start moving with velocities v1 and v2 respectively. That is what? This is before collision. The objects are moving with velocities u1 and u2 of mass m1 and m2. This is when the objects collide with each other. Now once they collide, they will repel back and go to the opposite direction with velocity v1 and v2, right? Before collision and after collision. So again, see here you need not, it's a very simple derivation, this as well as the previous one. If you just go on writing to what you have written here about momentum, you come to a conclusion neatly. But you have to practice it, not orally, by writing it. Initial momentum of an object A is given by m1 u1. Initial momentum of object B is given by m2 u2. Now for both A and B, we will write initial momentum, right? Final momentum of A is given by m1 v1 and final momentum of B is given by m2 v2. Rate of change of momentum, we know that. Rate of change of momentum in A. Now we know that according to second law, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force, which we already proved in the previous derivation. So directly I have written here, rate of change of momentum in A is nothing but force, F1, because of first part of the object it is m1 v1 minus m2 m1 u1. Why did we write m1 v1 minus m1 u1 here? Rate of change of momentum is something called as, what did we write here? We wrote here v minus u upon t. Now I have not considered this t, I'll tell you why. We will see that later. So this is v minus u by t, right? Of object A means it will be v1 u1 by t. I have not written t here because time remains constant. That is how t we have not considered at all. Rate of change of momentum in B, F2 is equal to n2 v2 minus n2 u2. Second part of B part we have written. So in the both the cases I have taken m common here and here also m common. So let us name this equation as 1 and equation 2. Now according to third law of motion. Now what does third law tell us? To every action there is equal and opposite reaction. That means, now for example, if I am swimming, how much ever action is acted upon the water. That means how much ever I push the water back, I only go that much amount forward, correct? If I just push this much, will I go so many miles apart? No, it's not possible. So my action depends on the reaction, right? So whatever is the action, the reaction has to be equal to the action, but in the opposite direction. Action and reaction are acting in the opposite direction. That means what force are acting on the action part should be same on the reaction part in the opposite direction. That is why force F1 acting on the object is equal to the force acting on the another object in the opposite direction. That is why F1 is equal to minus F2. Opposite direction. If I write F1 is equal to F2 here, then both the forces are equal. True, they are equal. But are they acting on the equal direction? No, they are acting on the opposite direction. F1 is equal to F2. According to F1 and F2, let's substitute what we have here in terms of F1 and F2. After substituting, we get this. Minus sign is there here. Now let's remove the bracket. When we remove the bracket, M1V1 minus M1U1 equal to minus M2V2 minus into minus plus M2U2. Yes? So we'll keep this as it is. Since this is minus, let me transpose here. I got M2V2. This minus 1 came this side. Equal to as it is. This minus M1U1 came this side. Transpose. Minus became plus. M2U2 as it is. So this is about final momentum. This is about initial momentum. Let me just rearrange and write it. I wrote this as here and this here. Just equal to is there only. So initial momentum is equal to final momentum. Therefore, this derivation tells us that initial momentum of an object before collision is always equal to the final momentum of an object after collision. There are many numericals on this chapter based on this derivation, initial and final momentum. Now, as I have told, all the numericals will be done once we start with our regular classes. So, there we complete this chapter, force and Newton's laws of motion. So, in this chapter, what you have to know is basic definition of a force, types of force, balanced, unbalanced, Newton's 3 laws of motion, first law of motion known as law of inertia, its application, that is inertia of rest, inertia of motion, Newton's second law of motion, which is based on momentum. So applications based on second law of motion, and very important is mathematically deriving second law of motion and also understanding what is SI unit of force, that is Newton. Then Newton's third law of motion, what we have done in today's class, its applications and the derivation of law of conservation of momentum. So 2 derivations in the chapter, both are equally important. With this, we conclude the chapter force and laws of motion. So in today's class or on the whole chapter, if you have any doubt, you can call once the video is sent. Thank you.